Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back to a brand new video here today, and welcome to another experiment on F1 2019 career mode. Now, this is a familiar experiment, one that we tried and failed sort of before, which is the 1 million R&D points. This time though, in the video, we'll actually be able to max out the Williams car, because the last time we tried this, well, it didn't go so smoothly.
You were going to lose your drive. Well, it's happened.
So in this video, an attempt will be actually fully maxing out the Williams car, and rather kind of asking and seeing what the journey is like of using 1 million R&D points in career mode, essentially. We're just going to get through it quite quickly, basically, and show you the steps we did to get to a max car. But the end goal will be actually to then drive the maxed out Williams car. So that is, you know, every single bit of R&D done on the engine, the aero, the chassis, even the reliability, even though it's not going to affect the performance. But, you know, fully maxed out car, basically. And it's all going to be done within one season. So we're going to be able to do a race then against the AI and see how ridiculously fast it is, basically, compared to, well, not like base car AI, because obviously they would have upgraded a bit by themselves, but not as much, obviously. I suspect our car might be twice as fast on the actual, there's a performance chart, of course, with like some values, which I never really know what the values correlate to, per se, like the actual number value, but we're probably going to be about double what the Mercedes car may be. Now, I will say, this entire thing did get more interesting and a little bit harder to actually max out the car since we last did that video where I tried, and it was basically a failed attempt of using 1 million points. Well, it wasn't a failed attempt, it was just an attempt of sorts, and we got fired basically from Williams. But that was pre 1.05 patch, so this is after the patch. You can see the R&D chart. Look at the gulf that we have to close up just to get to Alfa Romeo before we then even look at the rest of the midfield. So quite a lot of work to do there, but you can see in that first portion, you know, we did all the upgrades we could, did all the department efficiencies, the quality controls needed, and now we'll just get the best contract we can. Basically, all we need to worry about though is the simultaneous development and the upgrade speed. We don't need to worry about the actual race bonuses, the team goal, pit stop efficiency, because obviously we've got 1 million points to spend on the top right. Obviously we used to, now we spent some already, and we're not really doing races that have pit stops. We're doing 5-lap races in career mode, unlike the attempt where I did get fired in the 1 million video that I did like a week or so ago. I'm going to be playing through a few of these races off camera just to make sure we get the results we need to keep us ticking over, so that we don't have to find a new team, basically, even though we're very vastly improving the team, basically. But at this stage then, at the point where I got fired, basically, at the French GP, we're looking pretty good now. I would say 2/3 of the aero, the chassis, and the engine tree has been done there. So we're pretty much in the last third of those upgrades. Of course, those take a long time. The ultimate upgrades, even if you have the max upgrade speed, that still takes a good 3 weeks to do. 2 weeks for the major, 1 week for the minor, 3 weeks for ultimate. So that's still 3 whole races you have to wait for an ultimate upgrade, even if you have the max in your contract there. So it is a bit of a waiting game, essentially, but we've got everything set up, essentially. And so by the time we get to the British Grand Prix, we're already top now. So it took us a little bit longer than it did in the previous attempt. Like I said, with the patch, we already got to the top level of our car at the French Grand Prix. This took 2 more rounds, but you can see the exponential growth is still very much there from having 1 million R&D points. And now you can see we're plowing on the ridiculous amount of upgrades we're going on, and we're literally at the last layer of upgrades when it comes to the chassis. I mean, that last layer is pending. We've got 2 more layers on the engine side, because the Williams tree kind of ends up very weirdly in just one little kind of line, essentially. And then the aero side's got 1 more layer. But you can see already now that massive leap now of the Hungarian Grand Prix, just comically big. We actually got an R&D reset then as we went on through the season. So you can see the engine side got reset. Of course, we've got all the money in the world, the R&D points in the world, so we just adapted everything. Don't need to worry about that. And I think now we've got to the point where we're near enough, getting to the point where I'm nearly purchasing every single bit of R&D we need to max out this car. We're at the Russian Grand Prix now. You can see the gulf is pretty much grown. The gap from Williams to Mercedes is bigger than the gap from Mercedes to the bottom team of Alfa Romeo there. And there you have it then. The last 2 air upgrades are done. You can see the ultimate upgrade there has been done here there on the engine. We've got to adapt those last 3 parts, and they'll all go grey, and that basically means we've done all those parts. And then we look at the chassis side of things, and we've also completed that. So there we have have it. We've not adapted the reliability up there, but it is up for reliability. It is up for R&D reset, but obviously we're not going to go into Season 2. We don't need to. We've already maxed it out. So this is actually faster than F1 2018 was. It took me a season and 3 rounds in F1 2018 to max out the Williams car completely. This has taken me less than 1 season. This is the Mexican Grand Prix. We're going to do the USA Grand Prix just one more, because this is when we maxed out the car. I'll do one more simulated race at USA, and then at Brazil, which obviously has been notorious for, sometimes tricky to overtake out with dirty air. We're going to do a race around the Brazilian Grand Prix now with the maxed out Williams car and just see how crazy it is. Obviously, George Russell will be on pole position. I'm going to start at the back of the grids, and we're going to see how quickly I can get up. I'm only going to give myself a 5-lap race, so I think it will be very easily doable in 5 laps to get from last to first. I reckon we might even get to the top 5 maybe within a lap and a half. I'm going to guess right now. I think it's going to be that crazy. So let's just get into it then and get to the start of this Grand Prix and see how crazy this car is. Because we now go to 5 red lights in our maxed out Williams for the Brazilian Grand Prix. 5 laps here at Sao Paulo, and we're on the way. The traction is still quite tricky compared to the AI on the race start, so that doesn't change too much. But into turn 1 then, already confident on the brakes down the inside of 3 cars. They're having to try and avoid Giovinazzi though, and the AI obviously are still very aggressive and trying to push me wide there. So unfortunately, we're only P19, so it's not a great fast start there. But now, as we find some room to work with down the inside of both Toro Rossos on the left-hand side, we're going to make a massive dive bomb down the inside of Giovinazzi. We couldn't get Sergio Perez, but we are going to squeeze out the Italian up into P16 now, and we go towards the heart of Sector 2 then, and we can send one to the inside of Sergio Perez. A bit of a gaggle of battles going on there. Side-by-side, Kubica is going to go with Romain Grosjean there. Kubica's actually been transferred to the Racing Point car here in this career. Remember, we barge away past into P13, because obviously we do have the car to do that. I mean, Kubica basically was going to give us no room there on the inside, so it needs must, and now we send one down the inside of Grosjean up into P12, and it probably could be P11 by the time we get through to the main back straight. We had a little bit of an issue with Grosjean there, as his wheel got caught up on mine. But now we should be able to really get the power down. You're about to see the difference. The engine's really the biggest thing here. You can really notice. I mean, the aero is there, but it's a lot harder, just like real life, to see, aero differences, whereas engine, it's just there in a straight line. You can see, a lovely three-way moment, actually, between Vettel, Leclerc, and Gasly there. So some lovely AI racing we're seeing in this 5-lap race, but we don't care about that. We just care about getting the position. So up into P10 then, and so not quite the P5 in 1 and a bit laps I was expecting, but we're still pretty damn quick here. Going to punch past Vettel and Gasly now in a straight line up into P7, late on the brakes, and we're already now looking at the top 6 there. But you can see on the minimap, George Russell, my teammate, nowhere to be seen near the Mercedes car, absolutely nowhere. Well, we move swiftly on to the end of lap 2 now, chasing after Hulkenberg here. So at this stage, I feel like I can't remember exactly how the 2018 version of this video panned out. I think this is more of a testament of how aggressive the AI are at the very start on the opening lap of the race, of how they are to defend, and maybe Brazil, because of course we did the experiment and the race at China last year. But I think the car still very much is as quick compared to its base level AI and base level cars as it was on last year's game F1 2018, because you can see how fast we're now pushing past them. It's just a case of really they're just so much more stubborn on this year's game in terms of keeping their foot. I mean, you can see there I span Verstappen round by mistake because he just kept his foot in there. So they're a lot more stubborn on this year's game, which is the major difference, especially on lap 1. You saw how much I got blocked in the first few turns through the center S's, of course, unlike China, where you can kind of go around the outside of turns 1 and 2. But we're now up into P3, took the Mercedes car like it was nothing. Like, remember in my normal career mode how dominant the Mercedes car is, and that was literally like taking candy from a baby. Like, we move on towards the end of lap number 4 now, onto lap 5, and just look, look at the closing speed with DRS. That is ridiculous stuff there. So Russell's P1, of course. We don't have any hope of catching him. You can see in the minimap he's nowhere near to be seen, so he's obviously had a very good run from pole position there. To my surprise, Bottas was actually keeping up with me on the last lap there. I don't know what was on about that, but still, you saw how crazy the speed difference was in a straight line between the Williams and the Mercedes. So there you go, 1-2, easy does it, and obviously you would expect nothing less with a maxed out Williams car, but there you go, George Russell winning a Grand Prix with Williams. Soak it in, because it's probably going to be the last time you ever see it for a long, long while. I suspect the next time Williams are in a winning position, George Russell would have left the team a long time ago. But now we're going to get to this final part of the video, which should be hopefully quite interesting for you guys, is a comparison, direct comparison between the maxed out Williams car and the base Williams car that you get at the very start of the game. So the base car is going to be from time trial. Obviously, time trial cars are meant to be the exact same as the career mode round 1 cars before any upgrades. And then the actual maxed out Williams car was a lap I did in qualifying. Wasn't my best lap ever. I just did a lap basically, but it's going to be good enough to show off how much of a beast this car is. Like, you'll just see every time we pause it, each kind of sector split, how much time we've gained here. So we're going to roll the clip and get going. There you can see we've started it near enough at the same point as we cross the checkered line there on the pit straight. So we're going to click play now and get going here and see how we do. Already into turn 1, braking a little bit later. On the right hand side is the maxed out car, I should say. On the left is the normal time trial car, essentially the base car. And you can see already how much we've jumped ahead just through the NRS as we go towards the brake zone for the end of sector 1. The difference is crazy. We're at 150 brake marker board and 50 on the right for the maxed out car. We're already starting to brake in the maxed out car, whereas we're still powering on in the base car there. So crazy stuff. And you can actually see it just looks comically like I've sped the lap up, like almost like in a straight line. And also as we go into every apex, it just looks like I've taken the footage on the left, sped it up a little bit, and like altered the sound to match it basically. But that's the actual poor performance of the car, and you just don't notice it. I feel like personally, when you do career mode over multiple seasons, you don't notice how quick these cars are getting, but they really are absolutely rapid. So you can see at the end of kind of sector 2-ish, I'm already at the apex into that right-hander on the right-hand side, whereas with the base car, still not even got to the brake zone, not even thinking about braking quite yet. And then we go down the hill, completely flat out committed there on the right, whereas a little lift off needed on the left-hand side, and also a difference in gearing as well. We're now climbing up the hill already. We're not even got to the hill part on the left, and there we go as we now go to the straight line portion of the lap, essentially. They're open DRS already, waiting, now opening DRS on the left. We're going to finish the lap already, and we're waiting, and there we go with the base car. We are done. So that is the difference. Absolutely monstrous stuff there. And so, yeah, that's, you know, if you are in a Williams for career modes, that's what you got to be aiming for, you know. The maxed out car, very, very powerful. But I'm sure, I don't know if any other car would feel different at all. I'm curious. I don't think anyone's ever tested what the potential is, like the maxed out potential of every car. They're meant to be at the same value. I don't think they are necessarily, but that might be an idea for a different video. So let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see that. Maybe I should try and max out a different car and see if it drives any differently or the value is any different on the R&D chart perhaps. Let me know if you want that. But if you did enjoy this video, guys, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below about anything about that with the race or the comparison. And if you are new around here, do subscribe for more weekly fall-on content. I've been aarava. Have a good day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.